In this video, I'm going to be talking about my top 5 favorite attractions at Disneyland. Not Disney California Adventure, just strictly Disneyland attractions. How's it going, everybody? Shaun Allen here. Yes, I'm at home, as you can probably guess. I'm not at Disneyland right now, so I thought I'd share with you guys my top 5 favorite attractions at Disneyland. Now, these will not be including attractions from Disney California Adventure. This is strictly for Disneyland attractions. Now, if you want to see my top 5 favorite attractions from Disney California Adventure, go and check out the annotation just popped up on the screen, or wait for the end slate. Now, this is going to be an interesting one because I know a lot of people say, well, my number 1 favorite attraction is Space Mountain or Star Tours or Indiana Jones. Mine's a little different, and again, this is my top 5 favorite attractions, so here we go. This is my top 5. This is my number 5 pick in my list, and that is Roger Rabbit's Car-Toon Spin. Now, you're probably wondering, why in the world would I add this one to my top 5 favorite attractions? Well, the reason why is because I can actually associate myself with the movie that the attraction is based on, because it was released the same year that I was born. That's right, 1988. And I thought the movie was pretty cool. If you guys haven't seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit, go and check it out. It's a classic. They have a lot of really popular characters in the movie, like Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, and even some Looney Tune characters like Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, and a few other older characters like Betty Boop. You know, boop boop be doop boop. But yes, I actually enjoyed Who Framed Roger Rabbit and the attraction, of course. Now, if you don't know about Mickey's Toontown, it's supposed to be based off of the Toontown from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but it's called Mickey's Toontown because it's where Mickey Mouse lives, right? And it's not just Mickey Mouse, it's also Minnie Mouse and Goofy and Donald and all the other Disney characters that you see, you know, in the Mickey and Friends cartoons, right? So I really like this attraction a lot because, A, it's based off of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but also because it's a lot of fun. It's a classic attraction, and, you know, it's a fun, dark attraction. That's what it's called, a dark ride. And it's, you know, it's not only is it go through different little scenes, but it also makes the car spin around. You can actually spin it with your steering wheel. You're in a taxi. You also get to see some little tidbits from the movie as well, where you see some attraction, or some characters from the movie, and like the Weasels and Jessica Rabbit, and of course Roger Rabbit, of course. There's also some items in there that are featured from the movie, but also they're in the attraction, like the dip machine. And you can actually see the actual dip machine. Well, you used to be able to see it at Disney Hollywood Studios, but unfortunately that's been closed. But the dip machine also is featured in this attraction, which is kind of fun. And there's just a lot of little nitpick references to not just the movie, but also to Disney references as well. To like some of the names on the license plates, some of the buildings in there, news articles, and even the radio sometimes will give out little hidden Mickeys and little just hidden messages, which is kind of fun to listen to. So that's my one of my top favorite attractions at Disneyland. Top 5 favorite attractions, that is. And yes, that's number 5 on the list. Now I'm moving on to number 4, which is the Haunted Mansion. Now, you're probably asking yourselves, why wouldn't I rate that as number 1? Why isn't it my number 1 attraction? Well, I'm going to get to that in just a second. So the Haunted Mansion is a classic attraction. It's been around since the late 60s, even the early 60s, actually, because they were still developing at the time. It took them like 8 years to make it. It's probably one of the only other attractions at Disneyland that they don't really add any new effects. I mean, I know they added a couple of other items in the attraction, like the Hatbox Ghost and the Constantine Ghost, where they made her completely like they show a projection of her of some sort, and you know, but a lot of the stuff in that attraction is still original because it's a classic. Now, unlike the Walt Disney World version of the Haunted Mansion, they have been doing updates to that one, and they also have Phantom Manor in France, and what's it, Mystic Manor in Shanghai, not Shanghai, Tokyo. And, you know, there's different versions of it, but you can never compete against the attraction, the classic attraction here at Disneyland. It's also a very cool comic book series. If you guys haven't seen the Disney Kingdom's comic book version of the Haunted Mansion, go and check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's a good read. It's a little bit of a different twist on the story of the Haunted Mansion. And if you guys, again, haven't seen it, go and check it out at your local comic book store. But the reason why it's my favorite attractions, or one of my favorite attractions, because it's just a classic attraction. And I love classic attractions. And it's one attraction that I know that they will never really update, because there's a lot of things in that attraction that you can't really update or do stuff with special effects. Like the ghost, for example. That is an old magician's trick that used to be shown back in the late 1800s, you know, with mirror effects. The classic Madame Leota character with the face projected onto a statue and a singing bus. It's a lot of fun, and if you guys haven't checked out, I mean, if you haven't even ridden the attraction, then you're just a bunch of scaredy cats. But still, it's a fun attraction, and I personally am a big fan of it, and I go on it all the time at Disneyland. Now, let me just say that don't get scared of the lines, because they go by very fast. I mean, I was there recently, well, when I'm recording this, it was a couple of days ago, but by the time you're watching this, it'll be way, way beyond that point. But when I went to Disneyland on my last trip, they actually had a 20-minute wait, 20 to 25-minute wait, but the lines went so fast, it was unbelievably quick. And that's why it's number 4 on my list of top 5 favorite attractions. And now, let's move on to attraction number 3. What's my third favorite attraction? Well, I'll give you a hint. It relates to this guy over here to my right. It's not the Dumbo ride, unfortunately. It's actually the character right here. I don't know if you can see him, but right over here is my Casey Jr. statue. So yes, my third top favorite attraction is the Casey Jr. Circus Train. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen the video where I talk about my second trip to Disneyland, but I talked about a story where I got so upset on that attraction. Now, I'm not going to spoil it, but if you want to see what happened or hear about what happened, click the annotation, just popped up on the screen. But it's a classic attraction. Again, it's been around since the opening of Disneyland back in 1955, and it's a fun attraction. I know it's a kid attraction and that it's for a younger audience, but it's still one of my favorite attractions. And it's interesting because this is more of a roller coaster ride than an actual train. And what's really interesting is that the engine for Casey Jr. is not the train itself. It's actually behind the engine, which is kind of peculiar because you would think that the engine be in Casey Jr. because he's the one pulling the whole train, but it's actually the next car behind him. So I didn't know that until I actually did a little research on the Casey Jr. Circus Train. So and also some of the ride vehicles are from the carousel. I believe it's not the cages, but the ones in between. It's the seats that have they're opened. So yeah, it's really interesting that even with the seats from the carousel, that it still looks like a very cool train. And normally you only see one, but there's technically 2 trains that run the track. But usually they run 2 just in case it gets super busy. But normally it's just 1 train, and it goes by very quick. But still, it's a very cool attraction. If you guys have never ridden it or haven't taken your kids on it, go and check it out. And of course, ride Dumbo, of course. It's a fun attraction. And now, on to attraction number 2. What could that possibly be? Well, my second favorite attraction happens to be... Oh, where is it? Oh, it's on the ground. It's over here. Down here on the ground. It happens to be the monorail. Whoa, it's really dusty. I probably should have dusted it off when I was planning on recording this video. But yes, the monorail is my second favorite attraction. You kind of notice that we're going into a bit of a train... a train list here of favorite attractions. But yes, the monorail is my second favorite attraction. One of the main reasons why is because they keep updating the monorails, and this latest one, Mark 7 monorail, is by far the coolest looking monorail. I still like the Mark 5 monorail. I actually have the toy right over here on my display, but the Mark 7 monorail looks very cool. Well, it doesn't look like this because it's got a lot of dust, but still, it's a fun monorail. They have 3 of these on the track. There's a red one, there's a blue one, there's an orange one. If you guys have ever been to Disneyland, when they opened up the Finding Nemo Submarine Voyage, they converted one of the monorails to look like the submarine, a yellow submarine, and I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, and when they were building Cars Land, they put a couple of eyes on the front of the monorail to make it look like it was an actual like talking vehicle of some sort. And they also put on these decals, sticker decals, when they were talking about the film Tomorrowland, because you know the Tomorrowland station is in Tomorrowland, so it would make sense that they would put the logo of the Tomorrowland movie on the monorail. And I believe that you can actually hear the monorail sound in the movie. I heard it one time, but It's a very cool attraction. It's been around since I think it was 1959. I think that's when it was open. And it was only 3 cars instead of 6. I'm sorry, 5. The one at Walt Disney World had 6, but this one has 5. But originally the monorail only had 3 cars, the 2 sections here, and then like 1 car in the middle. But still, it's a lot of fun. Not only is it cool, but you also get to see not just Disneyland, but you get to ride through Disney California Adventure and even parts of the Grand California Hotel and a little bit of downtown Disney. So you kind of get to see a little bit of everything. As you'll see from my #1 favorite attraction, it doesn't see all of Disneyland. Now, you can probably guess what my favorite attraction is going to be, my #1 favorite attraction. But, yes, the monorail is a very cool attraction. That's my #2 favorite attraction. And now it's time for my #1 favorite attraction. And what attraction is that? Yes, it just so happens to be the Disneyland Railroad. Yes, the Disneyland Railroad is my top favorite attraction at Disneyland. No, it wasn't Star Tours, and no, it wasn't Indiana Jones. It is the Disneyland Railroad. Unfortunately, it's still closed because of the coal construction with Star Wars Land and the Rivers of America. I'm still waiting for the train to reopen. I'll be very excited when it is open. And there's a lot of dust flying around. It's making my nose itch. Yikes. I need to dust these things off. On my very first trip to Disneyland, this was my very first ride in the very first car. And it was unlike any experience I have ever been on. It was not just me and my mom and dad, but it was also my mom's whole side of the family. Well, mine is one family, but we got to ride the train. I'm trying to remember which engine it was. It might have been the EP Ripley, or it could have been the CK Holiday. No, I think it was the EP Ripley, but the Disneyland Railroad is truly a classic, and it's also one of Walt Disney's inspirations for Disneyland, because you know he had a huge love of trains. And if you've never been to Walt Disney's barn over in Griffith Park, go and check it out, or you can check out the videos I've done for the Walt Disney's barn. But the Disneyland Railroad is by far the most absolute #1 attraction at Disneyland. Not only is it fun, but it's also the only attraction that takes you around all of Disneyland in a 360-degree loop. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, what about the Disneyland Monorail? Well, not technically, because you can't see the monorail from, say, New Orleans Square or Critter Country. You can't really see it from Adventureland. Well, you can kind of see a little bit of it at Fantasyland, but not a lot. But it goes mostly through Tomorrowland and a little bit of Fantasyland, and that's pretty much it. It doesn't go around Disneyland 360, but the train does. And it's an awesome attraction. And personally, I think all the Disney parks should have a Disneyland Railroad. I don't think the one in Shanghai does, though, which is kind of upsetting to me because I don't know why they wouldn't include this. But I could be wrong about that. As you all know, I've been recording videos about the different engines, the #1 through 5 engines they have on the Disneyland Railroad. And they recently gave the CK Holiday a bit of a refurbishment. And it looks fantastic. It looks absolutely amazing. They're all very cool engines, and I have to say that it's definitely one attraction that they should never update and never get rid of, because that would just get rid of the whole concept of Walt Disney's original Magic Kingdom, because that was like his first attraction that he could have possibly come up with, which was having a railroad running around his own Magic Kingdom. So there you go. Disneyland Railroad is my #1 favorite attraction at Disneyland, and that's pretty much it. Well, on that note, thank you guys so much for watching. What are your top 5 favorite attractions at Disneyland? Leave it in the comments down below. Let me know what you think, and what are your thoughts about your top 5 favorite attractions. If you like this video, please be sure to hit the thumbs up button, favorite the video, share with your friends, and of course subscribe to my channel, the Disneyland Video Series. Don't forget I post videos now every day for the next 2 months, so yeah, next 2-3 months. It's going to be a lot of content, but I hope you guys have been enjoying the videos so far, and that's pretty much it. Well, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. See you guys next time here on the Disneyland Video Series, and I hope your day was a magical one. Bye-bye!